Hello, everyone, and we are live. Welcome to In the Doghouse. This is episode 17. I want to say big shout out to Pro Wrestling Tees that make my t-shirts. Go there, look up referee T-Bone Jones, get you some T-Bone Jones merch. Also behind me, my beautiful belts made by Capco Championship Belts. Go check them out. Abdul will hook you up really good and make you a nice custom made belt of whatever you like. Now we're going to get right into this. Let me see if I remember how to do this. We are going here is our special guest 2025 heavyweight Toughman champion, the real deal, Ryan Denkenberger. How you doing tonight, sir?
Sounds like my time, man. I feel good, man. We had a conversation for about 15 minutes before this to break the ice. So, like I said, anybody watching, I'm just going to pretend like you're not there. I'm going to have a conversation with him, and you guys can indulge in it.
Absolutely, absolutely. We already have one person watching. We already have 155 likes. That's the most I've ever started a live stream with. Don't know how that happened, but I'm happy it has happened.
Boy, it's nice that they like it on the outside, but like, it's you think about a podcast about boxing, and you probably think about I don't want to hear somebody sit here and talk to me about how they won the tough man and they're this and that. They got it totally. They have it backwards of what this podcast is going to be.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about a host of different topics, but we're going to start out with how did you get into the boxing game? Like, what got you started into fighting?
So, years ago, Eric Swick, he is a third degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. He used to work out of the Dragon's Den in Grafton. So I
Okay.
originally started going there. I think I was like 13, 14, doing Jiu Jitsu, doing a little kickboxing. Then Brandon Moats hit me with a roundhouse kick to the solar plex. I never went back. But
Oh,
so fighting's one of those things, man. Like when I started King's Hands, I didn't want to start boxing to be a badass boxer. I wasn't looking for the ego and the vanity associated with it. There's a lot of, Ronnie said yesterday when he was reading scripture in class, talks about the fire and how the fire tests you, like the trials. So you have to put yourself through, yeah, everybody says put yourself through adversities. It makes you grow, but it really is as simple as that. So what's more adverse than volunteering to get in a ring with other men who want to see you fall? I don't mean to make it sound so hyped up, but you're putting yourself through that voluntarily. You might as well go in and fucking do it.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, we're going to go to the next question. What was your motivation for fighting? What motivated you?
Well, it's really not the motivation of fighting it. Again, it all resorts back to like it's incremental changes, man. Everybody wants it right here, right now. They want the best version of it, brand new with all the upgrades. But like you really, if you want to build something that's worth having, like doing boxing or getting like a really good degree that pays you a lot of money that you have to study a lot of hours for, it's all the work in between that builds to it's a tipping point, man. Like it's not worth it to do all this if you're not building good character in between. If you go from start to finish immediately, you're leaving yourself empty. So it's all the stuff in between that makes me want to do this.
Awesome, awesome.
I'm answering you in paragraphs, but like
No,
we
no,
talked.
no. That's what I want. The longer you take to answer, the longer the questions go, the longer the
What's
episode is.
It's like some of this stuff. I mean, we've been talking damn near all day.
Yeah,
Text messages,
absolutely.
voice
Absolutely.
messages. So we've covered a lot of this stuff already. And like when we covered it, dude, listen, when it comes, my wife gets so fucking annoyed with me. I know she does, bless her. Um, I come home from boxing practice, and it's like all I want to do is talk about boxing. So like when we talk about my big points are like self improvement. Like on my TikTok, on my Instagram, go to some other guy's search feed. They're for yous. girls shaking their ass. It's going to be Fortnite. It's going to be cars that they don't work hard enough to ever own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mine's all motivational quotes, boxing lessons. It's all self-improvement stuff, man.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I listen to a lot of music on TikTok.
The lyrics, the lyrics of the music. That's what gets me. The ones that tell the story.
Yeah, absolutely. I forget the guy's name. There's a new guy on there singing a song about Johnny Cash, and I fell in love with the song. Like he's
It,
got
is he? He's a younger guy, but he has a really really deep cigarette voice.
yes, yes,
Yeah, I
yeah.
saw him on Joe Rogan, man. He has a crazy voice. He sounds like 85 and hoarse,
Oh
but he's like
no,
19.
but he's so talented, so
Yep.
talented. Oh my goodness. Um, when was your first tough man, and what was that experience like?
Yeah. My first tough man was 9 years ago. I believe it was in 2015. When I sent you the video. Um, so I kind of owed myself something, and leading up into this tough man, I was on the fence. Do I want to do it? Do I not want to do it? But then I think back to that tough man that you mentioned 9 years ago. I won in the first round, got first round TKO. I mean, that seems all too familiar from this past weekend, nothing's changed.
Yeah,
But did it in a more stylish fashion now. But yeah, I had to buy my first fight the second night. I didn't show up. So, in my history, I have a long, and I think everybody does, man. It's like you really got to acknowledge it. I got a long history of not showing up for myself. And I think a lot of people are guilty about that, even on the minuscule things. So Jordan Peterson, not to go off on a tangent, Jordan Peterson has like a saying type quote that I love. He said, "Go sit yourself down on your bed and be objective with yourself. Sit there, and if you really want to find out what's wrong with your life, you'll find out. You might not like the answer though." But yeah, that tough man fight. You watched that video, right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you see me get tripped up on my feet and go falling out of the ring?
Yes, I did. I laughed
Yeah,
a little bit at that. I
that
struggled.
hey man, that's
Ab-
the kind of that's the kind of shit that happens when you're anxious and you rush.
Absolutely.
That's if I could give, I mean, I was giving advice to those guys that were tough, man. I mean, every time I saw somebody that looked a little bit like a little nervous, a little shooken, I'd be like, "Hey, man," I was like, "You signed up for this. If you're gonna go in there 15% nervous about getting punched in the face," I said, "That dude's definitely gonna punch you in the face. Like, regardless if you're scared or not. So you might as well go in with brass balls. Convince yourself you're not scared." And some of the guys, like, I don't know, a little talking to goes a long way, even if it's just for that moment. Maybe when I turned around, they were petrified, but
I actually saw you talking to some of those guys.
dude, I was talking to everybody,
I
even
was
Lucas.
watching you, man. I don't know what it was when you first walked up. Excuse me, I'm tripping over my false teeth here. When I first saw you walk out to the ring, I don't know what it was, something about you. I was just like, man, I got to record this fight. I got to get this fight for my YouTube channel. And sure enough, second round, it was over. The fight barely lasted 90 seconds.
Oh, is that the championship round?
No, the first fight, you TKO'd the guy in the second round. Your
First
first
round.
fight. Oh, no, it was first
Yeah.
round? Okay,
Yeah.
so it
So
didn't even go 90 seconds. My bad.
yeah,
It didn't even go
me and Lucas, both the guy I was in the championship round with, leading up to me and him fighting. Every one of our matches, we took him out in the first round, and I mean, we made it to the second round there, but it's kind of a nice anticipation build having us like on opposite ends of the roster. And like the people watching don't know, but I was stalking the tough man list. I was the first one to sign up. I know, good job me. But every single person that added their name on the list from the time I signed up till fight day, I social media creeped them. I looked at everything about them. Do they have any experience? Do they do any cardio workouts? I was sizing the guys up. I found Lucas on November 8th. And I told him, like you said, I talked to everybody. The second day, one of the first things I did when I walked in the door, and I mean, how many people do this? You got Lucas, who's beating the shit out of people, equally as much as I was the day before, and he's getting some like Advil or something. I said, "Hey, Lucas," it's like, can I have one of those? I sat there and I started talking to him. Nobody's going to do that.
No.
Like,
that's competition. That's your competition. So no,
well,
you guys shouldn't be even talking.
Yeah, but also, man, like if we're always at a distance and we're always kind of side-eyeing each other, there's a little bit of uneasiness in both of us. So when I sit down and talk to him, that makes me seem calm, cool, collected. Like I'm gonna sit here and have a conversation with you, and we're gonna be punching each other in the face later. Like I can stomach that.
That is the craziest feeling in the world. I've been there. I've done that. That is actually like a crazy feeling. Like my last Toughman, 2022, I fought the guy I was helping train for the event. We ended up having to fight each other. And
Did you headbutt him in the mouth?
what?
Headbutt him in the mouth?
No. I told him before we even got to the ring, I said, give me 2 good rounds and put me asleep in the third. And he gave me 1 good round and TKO'd me in the second.
Well, that who was it?
We immediately left the ring and went out in the crowd and had a beer together.
I mean, maybe the second guy, the first fight of my second night, he probably didn't want anything to do with me. I was a little bit in the moment on that.
Yeah, you scared him a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, man, I knew if I won that fight, I was going to the championship round. So that was equally as if almost important as the actual championship round. Like, what if like that guy's going to make me miss my shot that I've been training 7 months for? Because why? There ain't no reason.
There's no reason. There wasn't. You walked right through him.
All love to him, man. Yeah, I think that I got hit one time that second fight, and it was he caught me with like an overhand type hook from I was body framing on him with my left arm, pressing his body down, and he exploded out of it. He caught me with one, but that's I took one stumble back, and in the video, that's when he tried to blitz me, and I popped the jab out of him and just hit him on the jaw, and he was down.
Yep.
You got to be careful doing that shit, man. You can't just be going charging. You can't be going and charging at people, man.
We have 12 people watching right now. We're 12 minutes in, and JJ Williams just said, "What's up, guys?" I don't know if you know JJ Williams.
I have no idea who that is.
I have no idea either, but how you doing, sir? Welcome to the conversation. Feel free to ask a question if you'd like to know what's on the heavyweight Toughman champion's mind. My next question was what we were already talking about. What did it feel like walking through every single opponent?
This is gonna come off, unless you've been in the ring, and it's not like I'm an expert. I've been in there 4 times total, but I was mentioning earlier about like getting nervous, and obviously there's nerves to it. Leading up to it, winning feels great. Obviously this over, and then you got to go back and do more. But the nerves leading up to it, man, they rattle people. And it sounds Gandhi like, but if you quiet your mind and quit tripping over your own bullshit, it's a lot more comfortable leading up to the fight. Everybody's so anxious, and I'm anxious too, but like I'm anxious to get in there and go to work. And that sounds, oh, sure it does, buddy. But if you're gonna do it anyways, like just learn to fucking embrace it. Like don't beat yourself up before you get in there. Use it as fuel. But winning, walking through people felt nice. That was like, man, I've trained hard. And I really have. And
well, you can tell by the shape your body's in. Like if you watch the videos, you can tell you're not just some average Joe off the street. You put time in, and you got your body looking good, and you got your mind sharp as can be from the sounds of it. So you're a dangerous man. You are the real deal, just what your name says.
I told my wife when I chose it, because I was looking through all these names, and they all seem like the warrior, the barbarian, and God forbid the people that put their name as the porn star. Like, okay, yeah. That's how I want to be announced, as a fucking joke. Am I right? Don't put your name as porn star. at least the real deal. If you win some fights, you can learn. You can live up to that.
Yeah,
But I
definitely living up to it. 4-0, and let's just let the cat out of the bag. You're headed to Parkersburg.
absolutely.
Are you planning on another repeat?
So yeah, yes and no. I'm planning on a repeat, but like I explained to my coach, I don't want to make any astronomical changes. I'm not going to try to rewrite my whole playbook. There was something smooth about what I did in there, and I have a little bit of footage. I get to see what I was doing exceptionally well, and I get to see the areas where I was lacking a little bit. So some people might go into the next one and say, I'm going to come kill it even harder this time. I want to kill it just as much, but maybe turn it up 3 or 4%. 2% per fight. If I get a little bit better, then by the championship round, I'm looking like a little bit different fighter. Then we go on to the next Toughman. I might take, I'll probably take 4 or 6 weeks off. We have not going to do Wheeling. Milford is 4 weeks out after Parkersburg, and then I think New Martinsville is 6. But I want to give myself that window. So like this one, I went back to back, and I trust myself to go in there. I'll go in there and crash them. I'm gonna go in there and go to war. But I'm gonna give myself some time off in between, so that the finale of getting the third jacket and beating the final 3 people, I'm gonna do it in a stylish fashion. I'm gonna go. I want to go in there, good cardio, and I want to box them in a way that they don't know what happened. Because Toughman's brawling, and like everybody wants to see a big man throw a big fist. I get that, but you get a big man throwing some javelins, catching people coming in, and all of a sudden, this guy's moving, looks like he's throwing a hook, and suddenly his face is, sliding across the canvas. There's an art to that, man.
Absolutely. It's human chess at its
Yeah.
finest. It's human chess at its finest.
I,
Now,
I answer all your questions with paragraphs. I know. I mean, it's a
I
podcast.
love it. No, I love it. I want you to. I really do. I want you to answer them with paragraphs. I got one more to add. I got like a statement to say. To my recollection, and I follow Toughman pretty well. I
You about to
follow,
gas me up?
yeah. I have been part of the Tough Man competition scene since '05. And to my recollection, nobody has won 3 Tough Mans in 1 year. So if you do that, I think that's going to.
That can't be true.
What?
I'm going to get in touch with Jerry Thomas about that. I'm going to get the records and see if that's true.
Yeah,
Because if that's the case,
I'm
man,
almost certain. I'm almost certain no one's won 3 in 1 year. So if you pull
uh-huh.
that off, that is indeed truly special, and that'll solidify the name Real Deal with Ryan Denkenberger.
Hey, brother, listen, I'm going to let you know right now, on a real note, if that is the case, these guys should take the opportunity to go ahead and quiet quit, because I'm going to come in there like a fucking train. If that's like, if I'm going to go into USA Boxing after this. So Toughman, people kind of discredit Toughman a little bit because you have the guys in there doing the wild swings, and you have a whole lot of guys hoping to get lucky.
You gotta
So
get.
that's
You gotta be tough to be in Tough Man. Listen, I've done 6 of them. I've done 7 fights. I've been knocked out, TKO'd there. It is not easy, especially my first year. I was like number 64 of 68 fights. I stood there for 3 hours waiting to fight. And by the
fuck
time
you.
I got the gloves, they were waterlogged with sweat. So instead of 16 pounds, it felt like I was holding, or 16 ounces, felt like I was holding 20.
Well, to add on to what you just said there about how many people showed up and how long you had to wait, that gives you a pretty stark indication of how times have changed. We had 29 heavyweights on the roster list. Do you know how many? Do you know how many showed up?
Not very
10 of them.
many. 10?
10 of them, man. 10.
No, I know it
That's
wasn't a big. I know it wasn't a big fight list. Like I was
and
like, man, this one's smaller top man.
but that's a small indication of truly a large world problem. That's a group of men that told themselves they were going to do something. Like when you sign up, I mean, you can quiet quit and just slide out and just never show up, and maybe you didn't tell your friends that you signed up, so there's no obligation. My wife, my in-laws, they'll all attest. When I signed up the first day of Toughman, the first day it was available, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to tell you, I'm gonna tell your parents. I'm gonna tell my parents, and my friends close to me, because then now I'm locked into it, and now I can't quit, because if I quit, I'm a bitch. I can't, like, the 19 people not showing up. That is that's unacceptable. Like, that goes to show you from how things used to be, where people would follow through on what they say they're going to do, and how the get off easy has kind of leaked in. They could have came. They could have took their chance. They could have got licked. Maybe they would have got a win. But not showing up at all, man, it's not a testament to character. You got to lock in and commit to things you say you're going to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. I actually have a story for you. There's a guy in the heavyweights. I'm not going to mention names because he already threatened to sue me for posting this video of him getting beat up from Toughman. Even though, they tell you you're allowed to videotape as long as you don't use flash photography. So I don't know why he would threaten to sue me, but he was at Toughman. He lost. And he told people, he said, they're going to let me back in the second night because the guy I fought backed out. They're going to let me back in. I'm thinking to myself, man, in the history that I've been doing something, I ain't never heard of them letting somebody back in after they lost. You lose, you're usually out. And that's what happened. He didn't come
Well,
back.
if anything, that's the complete opposite of all those guys that quit and didn't show up. So I guess kudos to him.
Yeah.
He wants to go in there and get his head beat in twice. I mean, more power to him.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I just didn't see the point in lying about it, man. Like I've gotten beat up at every tough man I ever done, right hand to God. And I post the videos for the whole world to see. I don't mind. I lost. I'm not a boxer. I just did it for the hell of it.
Well, that's like really with the last guy, Lucas, because obviously, my coach is watching him, I'm watching him. I'm not worried, because, like I said, I'm gonna have to go in there. There's no sense. I don't gain anything from worrying. Like, yeah, like, that big dude's gonna punch me in my face, and, like, I accepted that. So, like, I told my wife before we went down, whatever happens in there, I said, I'm gonna get in there and go to war. And, like, with them guys backing out, they're not committing to it. They're not committed to it, man. That's like, people nowadays aren't committed to their jobs. They're not committed to their spouses. They're not committing. I said it's more just boxing. Like, you asked me earlier, like, why did I get into boxing? What's the best thing about boxing? I was, giving you, like, some blanket shit, like, oh, it's all the stuff in between. But that's exactly what I mean. Like, you do something hard, a fire, a trial, to build your character. And through that hard thing, you become a more adverse person. A more adverse person on a day-to-day basis is probably going to be more functional, procrastinate less, do more of what they're supposed to. It doesn't make you fucking perfect. I fuck up every single day, and, do shit slower than I should. I was supposed to do this yesterday, but now I'm doing it 2 days later. I still fuck up, but it's making the conscious effort, and boxing's a thinking man's game. I lifted weights for 10 years, and I don't know. You can only lift so much weight. Squat 505. Now my fucking knees hurt. Benched 420. Now my fucking shoulders hurt. Plus, with
That's a lot of weight,
lifted,
man.
yeah. I mean, it's cool. I mean, was it worth it? I don't know. You know. Then, I'd get the questions like, "Well, you're big, but can you fight?" And I would always, in my mind, respond, "I think so." Yeah, I have big, heavy hands like those heavyweights do, but can I fight? I don't know. Now I'm a little bit more confident. I think the last tough man to this tough man showed that,
You
which they didn't
you
see
most
it, but that was,
definitely can fight. Your power is like out of this world. I don't think I've
oh,
seen
man.
that type of power in recent years.
Outside in the normal world, I'm a yes sir, yes ma'am. If I see a veteran wearing a hat, I thank you for your service, sir. I don't know, I'm a gentleman. I'm humble. I'm genuine. I'm authentic. And my parents can kind of make me come off as like I always tell my wife this, man. I said, when I go to a gas station, I said, watch how old people look at me. It's, they, kind of, I got tattoos on my hands, I mean, I'm jacked, but then as soon as I start talking to somebody, like all the people I was talking to at Toughman, and I'll mention him now because I think he's still watching. I'm going to fuck his name up. Blazel, the guy I was telling you about, him and his brother, I helped
Yeah,
them wrap their hands. So you run into people like that. Now, I mean, I've messaged him multiple times since Toughman. So like, of all the little things you gain, all the adversities, all the little things that make you better, maybe do this better, do that better, you still get to network with people too. And you need a tribe, man. That's the whole reason. That's the whole reason I even wanted to start boxing, which was in a post that you probably saw on Facebook. I went off on a tangent there, but
No, you're good. No,
for me, it all interconnects, man.
you're letting our fans see a different side of a tough man fighter that they may not have ever gotten before.
Wait, hold on. You mean I'm not supposed to get a monster can and sit here and gloat to all these guys about how I whoop these boys and can't nobody take me? Built different.
No,
That's what I'm supposed to
I,
be like, right?
most people would expect that, but I'm glad
Yeah.
you're
Well,
not. I'm glad you're
but
not.
that's the exact thing you said. Most people would expect that. I'd say, watch how old people look at me when I walk into gas stations, and then their tone immediately changes when they go walk up to the door. I grab the door for them and said, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir." Like, hot fucking fooled you, you judgy bitch.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You said that you like being a yes sir, no sir type of guy. I'm the same way. Me and my wife have been together 10 years, been married 9. I still open the car door for her. Like
Oh, absolutely.
I don't
Like, yeah.
drive. I don't drive. My eyes been messed up too much. My hearing's bad, so they won't give me a license. So she has to drive everywhere, and like I open her car door before I.
Little tit for tat.
Absolutely.
Well, that's like, I mean, my wife. We're getting off subject here, but my wife, she's like a traditional wife, man. Which we can get into that later. Like, we do a quick rundown of like when I met her and how absolutely fucking broke I was. You know what I mean? Like, no money, and like she stuck. She stuck with me. And now, I mean, my life's financial, spiritually wise, physically, I've never been better. But
Awesome, man.
yeah. What's your next topic here? What do you got? I
Um,
think we strayed from the path
Yeah.
there.
Who was your favorite fighter growing up and why? Did you watch fights
Uh,
growing up?
Anderson Silva.
Anderson?
That's the one. Yeah. So I'm not going to do it now, but I got a really nasty teep kick right up under the jaw, and I like saying I keep that in my back pocket because I'm a big dude and I look muscle bound and shit. I will kick you right under your chin with no telegraphing. I really
What's
will.
your
I
word,
really will.
sir? By the way, we had another question here. JJ Williams asked, are you going to try and go pro? You answered that by saying you're joining USA Boxing. If
Well, that's amateurs. The USA Boxing
Yeah,
is.
USA Boxing's amateur, and you got to go amateur before you can go pro. So that would answer JJ Williams' question right there. We still have 10 people watching. Um, you're a big gym buff. What is your favorite exercise?
Well, the gym not so much anymore. I mean, man, I haven't.
Okay, well,
I
even
don't think.
training for
Yeah.
Tough Man. What was your favorite exercise? Training for Tough Man.
Well, my favorite exercise, everybody's favorite exercise is bench press. Every gorilla in the gym wants a big bench press. I mean, that's the first thing you ask when you see a big guy. It's how much do you bench? Nobody ever wants to ask how much you squat because half these motherfuckers don't squat. But anyways, my favorite thing, like boxing wise, um, my favorite boxing drills would probably be, I don't know how to explain it. Like Canelo does it on the bag. It's the uppercut bag, and he does the small slips and the head movements in between with the rolls. Like I have it. I don't know how to explain it, but I have it on my Instagram, Facebook, and whatever. Teaching you counter punching, which I credit that drill, which I was bragging to the guys at the gym about, like, hey, like you have to use this uppercut bag. You step into it, move around, and the bag is constantly moving. So you catch your shift weight on your left foot, and then you can throw a hook. And there's uh, the guy from the second fight when he hit me with the overhand, and then he came rushing in, and I dropped him. I credit that drill on that bag for that punch.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. You hit
You're,
him
you're
hard too, by the way. You hit him really hard.
well, and so if you're really accurate, man, that's what my coach says. If you don't telegraph, which I didn't telegraph that, I was just here and I was stepping back and I fired it from my shoulder. It was all back, but it's the ones they don't see coming. And if you don't telegraph and it's a short stroke punch, it's going to do a lot of fucking damage. I mean, hey, look at the championship fight. I didn't draw back for that too.
No.
It was all right here.
And it was there. It was perfect timing, precision. It looked great, and it gave a hell of a video. Thank you.
I was you practice to be really calm in there, and like everybody I've told, where it's like you find a flow state in it, and you have to be calm. But that comes, I think that comes from too, like all the fires and the trials, like all like I mean, drug addiction. Every time a girl ever broke your heart, every job that let you go because whatever reason, you have all these shitty things, and a lot of people let it consume them, and you get a much stronger mind when it's tested, man. Like if you can really go through some awful shit, like some awful shit, and come out better from it, not come out jaded. I don't think a lot of people have that ability, and I think that's why a lot of people are living so miserably. Like nothing against people that take antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds. Like there's some people out there that really need them, but how could you do it to yourself if you're not giving yourself like my TikTok feed or my Instagram feed where everything's like it's not gone. You're like, hey, over the next mountain is a pot of gold. It's not like that. But if you truly do work hard and you sit there and try to identify all the little things you're fucking up, because I'm still fucking up shit today, but I used to fuck up a lot more. Everybody's doing it. Nobody's perfect. And if you really want to change, you start identifying, eliminating those things, then you're going to see a strong, prosperous mind, man. And then you're going to be able to deal with challenges going forward. And I feel like everything I've dealt with the addiction,
Tell us about that. Tell us about that. Open up. Oh, open up about that. Tell us about that. We got all the time in the world.
Well, for the 10 people in here, I'm gonna let you know
No,
really
we got
hot.
12.
Okay, for the 12 people in here, if you haven't yet, I'm gonna go ahead and strongly advise you never try meth. I know it seems like well, no shit, we've learned that since we were kids. Don't do drugs. Well, definitely don't fucking do meth. So that was a party mistake, and they say you try it one time and you're hooked. Well, for that substance, it's true. It actually like cocaine, for example. Cocaine will make your body dump its serotonin and dopamine. Eventually you can only do so much cocaine, probably 3-4 days, and then eventually it's not hitting anymore. Well, with meth is its own special monster to where it actually replicates artificial dopamine in your brain, so your body quits creating its own dopamine. So all the people that want to get better, that are tired of pretty much living in squalor, like staying up. I never wanted to stay up 4 fucking days and not sleep, and it ruins your whole life, man. Financially, your relationships. But it's one thing that you let it slip in. I always described it as getting talon stuck in your back, because the way the human brain works, man, with the the neurochemistry. If you've never had it, you never crave it. But now imagine, I'll keep it PG. Not trying to figure a way to explain that.
Hey,
Imagine,
we're set up that 18 or older, so you're good. So.
imagine 200 roller coaster experiences all at once. All that dopamine, the drop, except times it by 200. Not that that's what it feels like, but the amount of dopamine, the feel good chemicals, it robs you of everything. At first, I always described it like this, man. At first it made me who I always wanted to be. I was always confident and I was always okay at talking to people, but man, with that, everybody was my best friend. I could think fast, I could do fast, I never ran out of energy, and that's the trick of it, man. Because well, then you're 3-4 days in and you're tired, you haven't eaten, you got to take a long 16, 18, 20-hour nap. And like that cycle right there of like being up for 4 days, sleeping for a little while, then eating. For my first run-in with it, man, I think I was 234 pounds when I started, and I'm pretty good on the time. In 6 to 8 weeks, I was about 185 pounds.
Wow.
So I lost. Yeah, man. Yeah. Now, like, how hard that is? I mean, how hard that is to be going from a bodybuilder who everybody realized, everybody's like, that's the big guy. And then suddenly I look like a cancer patient. And then do you know how delusional, like, this is how strong the drug is. Do you know how delusional you have to be to convince yourself that nobody notices? That like, oh, I literally told somebody one time that I was on a keto diet. Oh, I'm doing keto. It's like, yeah, you've done keto and lost 50 fucking pounds and have sunken in eyes, you stupid shit. Like,
wow. That's,
but yeah, man.
I'm sorry you went through that.
Yeah, it's and it's controversial subject.
No.
I'm a full believer that that addiction is a choice, and that's hard for some people to stomach. I've been there. I've done it. I did it twice. I'm a twice over meth addict who ruined his life and lost everything. First time around, I had a $28 an hour job. I had a good girl. We had our differences, but she was a good girl. And your life can only handle so much of that level of abuse. Eventually your relationships get frayed. You're having arguments over stupid shit just because you've been up for 3 or 4 days and you're finally tired. You're finally fucking grumpy after you've been happy for 3 days over the moon, and then suddenly you're being an asshole to everybody around you. Suddenly you don't want to work the overtime anymore and you've lost all your steam and you went from the best employee to the guy that's fucking falling asleep in a break room. The whole thing makes you lie to yourself. It paints a picture in your head, and then as soon as, imagine this, the reason it's so hard for people to get off of it, eventually I lost everything. The girl left me. I could no longer afford the place I was renting. I lost my job. I was making $28 an hour at the Steelworkers Union.
Wow.
I made too many, and here I thought I was being employee of the month, but I was working too fast, and I was working with these blocks that were extremely expensive. They used them to make sand, sand kilns to melt LCD glass for TVs, and like each one of these blocks are like $40,000, and they have a tolerance of like 32 thousandths of an inch. And here I am doing meth, trying to fucking get them down to a finish. I'm trying to get them within spec, and you move too fast, you make mistakes. But yeah, eventually I had to move back in with my parents, man. That was one thing going in Toughman too. Not like I don't want to show anybody. I don't want to look at me now. It's the comeback was personal. The comeback's not vengeful. I've made my amends for the most part, with the people that I've done wrong. I've never done anything seriously wrong. I've never beat up anybody's grandma. I was always making money, so I wasn't the tweaker who had to steal. But it changes your personality, man. You go from being like how I am now, to lifeless sack of sadness that's sitting on the couch. Like when I had to go back in with my parents for the first like 3 or 4 days, man, I was having like seizures in my sleep.
Oh my God.
But not like all night. But I remember I would wake up and maybe it was happening for 5 or 10 minutes. But that's how strong this stuff is, man. That's why, like, I want to bring up this part too, because it sounds like I'm being all me. King's Hands Boxing has a nonprofit. We're federally recognized as a nonprofit, and we are I never thought I'd say this, but we are a Christian boxing gym. And all this, I mean, if you're still here and you're listening to all the boohoo, sad stories, all the mistakes I know I made for myself, there are kids out here, man, that are just like me, that were just like me, that are right on track to make the same mistakes. They're the people they hang out with. I hung out with all the shitty people, even though I knew back then they were pieces of shit. Your intuition isn't as good. You got to get burnt a few times. You got to build some character, King's Hand's going to offer a place to where we're going to be federally subsidized. So we're going to have nice equipment. Ronnie is a true, I mean, I've never thought I'd say he's a true saint of a man. Ronnie is the coach that everybody wishes they had. Ronnie is the coach that is motivating the fighter in the Rocky movie, and the coach never gets their dues. The fighter, it's, what a wonderful fighter. Some coaches do after all their years, but Ronnie cares about all of us. And some people you wonder if it's fake love. We've all been there. Like, you have your friend who acts like he's down for you, but secretly, he's a piece of shit. Ronnie, wholeheartedly, undeniably, unequivocally loves the people that come there and spend time creating what he's trying to create.
I've seen the videos, and it's amazing the work he's putting into you
But
guys. He did.
he just wants to help people, man. And like, they always say if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Well, I was skeptical at first too, because like, what's up with this dude? And he thought the same of me. He actually told me my first couple days in class, he thought I was a big brute that was going to come in there and want to spar and beat up on everybody. And then, a week or two went by, and he messaged me. He's like, I think I still have it, but he's like, hey man, I owe you an apology. He said I had you all wrong. And he wrote me a paragraph explaining to me that how he originally thought of me, that the thought of me coming there and being there kind of made him roll his eyes. But just like I told you with the old men and the old women, hang around me for a little bit, get to talk to me, realize I'm not as full of myself as it could be perceived that I am, and I love helping people. I'm not gonna like go help you move your
No,
whole.
I want to ask,
I'm not.
what's the location and time of the gym? Like, what are their classes and what
So
times?
right now, it's at the Fit Lab in Fairmont. You can literally Google Fit Lab and it comes up Nautilus. Every Tuesday and Friday, we go 5 to 7. And then on Saturdays, and these are subject to change moving forward with us being officially recognized as a nonprofit. There's going to be a lot of doors opening up for us. Every Saturday from 12, I think we run 12 to 2. We do kids boxing where you can pay $5. And I mean, even for the kids, like, you can get a class of kids together and have their parents pay $5 and just let them run amok. And oh look, Sally's over there hitting the bag, and Junior's hanging from the ropes, whatever. But Ronnie works with all these kids individually, and that's like, eventually, if you watch somebody long enough, they'll show you who they are. And that goes for people who have good intentions for you and people who have bad intentions for you. If you watch somebody long enough, they will reveal their true character. I've known Ronnie for like 4.5, 5 months, man. Solid. And that it did something to me, like in terms of, like with faith. It's supposed to be a Christian boxing gym, and I've never been opposed to the idea of it because I'm not closed minded, but I could never get behind the idea of, I'll go ahead and I'll be ignorant about it. The magical man in the sky. I don't, a physical thing, I don't know, but we talked earlier about like the energy. And this is funny because Ronnie he was not preaching, but he was explaining how he interpreted the Bible. It's open to interpretation. Just because your grandpa, who has been reading, King James Old Testament for the last 50 years and swears by it, this is what it says. It's open for interpretation, man. I feel like God is energy, and Ronnie projects that energy vigorously through that gym to every child, everybody that wants to learn that isn't very good yet. He gives them the time of day, and he doesn't brush people off. The gym, I'm just going to go ahead and say it because I mean he knows who he is. I'm going to leave his name out of it, but the gym I was going to prior, I kind of felt like there was something in me like go to another gym. Like you're like kind of like you're outgrowing it. Some people have a passion for what they do, which is Ronnie. And where am I going with that? Well, we'll end that little tangent right there. I kind of lost my spot. I didn't want to mention. I didn't want to mention the person I was talking about, and it got me
That's
flustered off.
perfectly fine. We have people in the chat saying, Audrey Carter, I hope I pronounced her name right, said
Yeah, yeah. She.
he was great with our grandson, very genuine. And she said, "Price, brother, what's the price?" And you said,
Oh, okay, okay. So the price. I'm gonna mess his name up again. Blaze. There's the guy I was telling you about when.
"Okay, yeah.
When I initially, I'll run through the whole story real quick. So now, if what he told me when he came up to me when I got my jacket is true, it's a really cool ending to it. So I walked in, filled out my paperwork, and I jumped in Medline, and I talked to everybody. I'm not gonna, shelter myself from these people. They're talking, I'm gonna talk to them.
Yeah.
So it was him, his brother, and some other people. I got there shooting the shit with them, and it came time to wrap their hands, and the line was long, and they mentioned, yes, I'll wrap your hands for you. So I made sure I could have rushed through it and be like, okay, I got to get ready for a fight, man. Like, I don't got time to be helping you wrap your fucking hands. Like, okay, yeah, I'll help you, but don't ask me again, man. You got to take your time, treat people good, which is like, I talked to him a couple times between now and Toughman. He might be doing Parkersburg Toughman. If he does, I said, if he wants to get a hotel room with me, I said, I'll do the double queen. I said, let's go run it back. You build relationships through little interactions. So now the first time I met this guy, I help him and his brother wrap his hands. Later on, his grandpa comes up and thanks to me. He's like, hey, thank you. I'm like, for what? He's like, for helping my grandpa's or my grandchild wrap their hands. Next day I come in, I immediately see these guys, we start shooting the shit. I help them wrap their hands again, give them nice coverage around the knuckles, give them a little bit of meat. I said, move your hand. How's that feel? And what I thought was the coolest before, I'm going to mess his name up again, Blaze, before his championship match, like 2 bouts before, which I don't know, it feels good too, because like people, I like coaching. I like helping people, especially about boxing. And you get me talking about boxing, I'll go off for like 2 hours. I'll just keep talking about it. But he came up to me. He's like, hey, he said, my opponent is 5'4". He said something along the lines of, how do I beat that? I was like, well, how tall are you? And I don't know. He's taller than he is. Like, I ran him through the basics. And here, this is like 4 bouts. I think 4 bouts before I'm going to fight that fucking gargantuan of a man, that Lucas, that the one guy that I've been looking at since November 8th. So some people would be, no, man, cool. I don't have time. They might not say it directly, but they would brush him off. But dude, I love boxing. And when he had a question, and I was like, I want this dude to win. And I knew exactly what he was like. Well, how do I beat a smaller guy? And I was like, keep him at a distance, step jabs. And I went over the step jab with him and showed him the distance in our arm. So every time he comes in, try to catch him. And then I said, eventually he's going to get tired of that bullshit and he's going to blitz in and try to cover the distance. And I said, when he does, we ran through it 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Because I kept insisting. I kept getting back. I said, do it again. I said, now run it again. I kept insisting he would do it again. But, I had told him the body frame, push out, cover your chin, because the only thing that can come is a uppercut and maybe a hook, like if they slide up and over. And we ran that for probably like 8, 9, 10 minutes. And then after I won my fight, man, I didn't expect it. I didn't even know he had won. At that point, I was locked in between his fight, because he obviously fought before me. But he came up to me with his jacket and he's like, hey, man, something along these lines. He's like, I did what you said. He said, it worked. It worked. And I was like, wait, that really, not that I was, questioning it, but I didn't know if he was coming up and be like, hey, man, I did what you told me and I won. But he was like, no, he said, I did the jabs, the posting. But he said, instead of throwing 1-2s after, because I told him to let him go. And then as soon as your hand comes off them, their instinct, you've been pushing them down when they feel the weight release. Their first instinct is stand up. And I said, as soon as they stand up, fill the space with combinations. But instead, he hit him with a rear hand uppercut as he had him posted. But he was like, yeah, he's like, that was the only difference. And I was like, I was in disbelief, man. You know what I mean? Because I got he did the work, but all he needed to know was, what do I need to do to gain an advantage over somebody like this? And the specifics matter. He could have went to one of his buddies and been, how do I beat this guy? And like, well, what are you worried about? He's only 5'4". That's not the attitude to have. Like, take your time with people, man. Like, you never know. Like, I told him to get into
not overlook the guy. Like, you got
yeah.
Dude, you do look through him, find a scientific way, and then look through him, because that's pretty much what you did.
Well, and like that little example there, like feeds into the relationship with your spouse. How often do you just brush them off because it's easy? How easy it would have been to brush him off. Like, yeah, man, like, go punch him in the face. Like, go try your best. you could brush them off with some bullshit answer. Your friends, and your friend comes to you with a problem. Do you do the right thing and give them the best possible advice that you can give them based off of your experiences? Or do you, oh man, that sucks. Yeah, Tammy's a real bitch. Don't worry about her, man. Or do you give them some real advice? Like sometimes I benefit from slowing down and explaining things to people too, because that reinforces it with me. I'm speaking of it from a level of an educator. So I kind of already feel real like comfortable doing that style of shit he was doing. And then for me to say it to him, no, it works. It reinforces it. It doesn't teach me anything new, but it reinforces it with me. Like every time I tell somebody step jab, and it's like, keep working on it. You got to run it a million times.
Absolutely.
But all the little boxing lessons and all the things in between, man, like that's why I said like boxing's cool. Yeah. I mean, do I want to be a good boxer? I want to be a great boxer. Did I start this solely to just be well known and renowned boxer? No, there's a lot of things in between that I'm going to gain on the way from knowing absolutely nothing to wherever I end up. There's a lot of lessons in between, and it's not just boxing. Like I'm building faith, I'm building spirituality with my gym. Even though I'm not like fully committed where I'm going to sit there and read the Bible, like I feel more now than I ever have, and I owe that all thanks to Ronnie. I'm not holy rolling. I'm not going to Joe Osteen's church and banging out. But for me, I don't need I don't need him to tell me the way I think is right. I don't need her to tell me the way I think is right because they're so used to a set way. I'm open to interpretation, and being nice to my friends and helping people makes me feel good, and that's God. I want more of it.
Amen. Amen.
I've been on the other side of it to where meth essentially, I'm not preaching, meth is essentially the devil because it gives you everything you thought you want, all the energy, all the confidence, all the friends. I'm gonna talk to you, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna do that, and then it takes it all away from you. It pulls the rug and you fall flat on your face, and you're left looking for more. And the only way to make yourself feel better and get anywhere back towards baseline is to do more. Like you've been run over by a truck, and to make all the pain go away, all you got to do is do a little more. And it's a mad trick, man. It's a mad trick. But I still say addiction's a choice because as terrible as it may be, some people don't make it out to where they're clean, they're sober, and you're always living with a little monster inside you. Like that song I sent you, Jelly Roll Creature.
Yes, sir.
There's a monster, there's a dragon at my window and a monster in my closet. Kind of like I relate that real heavy to addiction, but addiction's still a choice, man. It's a fucking hard one. Speaking from experience, I understand why people say that addiction's not a choice. Like they're stuck like that. They're not stuck like that. It's just
coin. You've seen both sides of the coin.
Yeah, they're not stuck. I'm just telling you I get it. It's really fucking hard when you can go down to your buddy's house and spend $30 on a bag and feel like the guy from Limitless for the next 3 or 4 days.
Well, I got to tell you something because we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I don't know if you know or not, but I adopted my nieces because their mother is a heroin and meth addict. And I just wanted to do this. I really wanted to do this episode with you to show them that there is life after the drugs. And I pray, like we pray for every Sunday, like when I go to church, I pray for every day. But I couldn't do it for her. I tried helping her when all this first started. We took the kids in and we tried helping her get clean and everything. And she chose what she chose. They gave her a
You will only get clean when you're ready to. Most people will have to hit absolute rock bottom. I mean, like my story, man, I legitimately within the course of like 3 to 4 weeks, a very small town too. So everybody knew that Ryan was a big fuck up. Everybody knew that Ryan was a drug addict right now. And they didn't know me as that before. So that was really demoralizing. Some people, I'm sure still see me in that light, but that doesn't matter. What I was going to say is, coming out of like Ronnie will tell you he struggled with addiction for a long time. Fuck, a long time. I think like 10 years or so. He lived a lot of his life like that.
Wow.
But there's you talk about like not to be cliche, like the mental fortitude, the adversity, like overcoming things. There's Joe Rogan said something one time, and I remember it clearly. It says the hardest thing you've ever been through is the hardest thing you've ever been through. So if you've lived a life of luxury and never taken the chances and never pushing, it's like, why'd I start boxing? Because the hardest thing you've ever been through is the hardest thing you've ever been through. Getting punched in the face by grown men who want to win is pretty fucking hard, dude. But like,
Absolutely.
but that goes back to saying, like, I'm boxing, but there's all these lessons along the way that you're not really paying a lot of attention to, but they're slowly weaving a stronger character.
Yeah, it makes sense. I get what you're saying, sir.
Like
Makes
like
a lot of sense.
the trust fund baby who has flew around in a mid-level private jet, and they're always going on fancy vacations. Their perception of, oh my god, this is terrible, my life's over, is a lot fucking different than somebody who has been working, I hate to do like the single mom, but let's say somebody working 2 jobs and actually struggling to make it. They got a busted ass old car. Somebody getting their coffee wrong when they order it, it's probably not going to bother them that much. But I mean, I'm not even dramatic. How many TikTok videos are there out there of people bawling and crying on TikTok because something happened that was, my whole week is ruined? And like, there's people out there with real problems, and it's probably about time for you to start toughening yourself up.
Absolutely. I can show you on the Harris County Rant Room on Facebook how many of those posts there are. People just,
It's a
it's
it's a it's
fast
a
food,
it's
quit crying.
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, man. That's why I made the reference earlier about, like, some people need anxiety medicine, some people need depression medicine, some people need to get the fuck up and start living their life for themselves. Some people need to start taking accountability. Some people need to get out and find, if you don't have friends and you want to do better, go find them. It's called no man's land. Andy Frisella describes the place where you're no longer happy with where you are and you want to do better, but you don't have a tribe to do it. That is called no man's land. Nobody is coming to save you from no man's land. If you don't reach out and look for those people, chances are you're going to be stuck with the same fucking bums that have been holding you in the bucket your whole life. That's King's hands, man. I told my wife, like, I had a very small group of friends, and they still were okay with their shitty job. No offense, their shitty jobs. They weren't actively working towards promotions. I smoke weed, but I smoke it before I work out. They don't work out. Nothing against them, but buddy, like, we're 29, 30 years old. The time to play World of Warcraft and come home from work and play games till you go to sleep, it's over, bud. It's time to, we got to grow up. You're going to wake up. I don't want to wake up. I've made enough mistakes leading up to 30 that I do not want to wake up at 40 and realize that I've been stuck in the fucking mud for another decade. That would be an absolute nightmare, because this is the last chance, man. And like, I think people need to start like taking the reins of their life and moving in the direction they want to. You don't have to move it all at once. You don't have to do all the work right now, but the sooner you start, man, I wish I would have been where I'm at mentally years ago, where I am now, but it took all that bullshit. It took every time, better. Why are you doing that? Do better, then you do better. I always say you don't start from zero, you start from experience. So every hard thing you've been through, it's, here we are at this bullshit again. Like, yeah.
Hey,
What's your next question?
no, I'm actually out of questions because I've asked you everything, or you already went to it. So I'm honestly out of questions, but there are some comments in here. We have Simple DeAndre said, "My dude, let's go, big bro."
That's right.
And then
Come to Parkersburg.
yeah, Jessica Hall said, "We love you, Ryan.
Jessica.
Love you, Ryan. Listening in all the way over here in Huntington."
Yeah, I hope Maddie's doing well. I know she was supposed to fight already. Maddie was fighting a girl, and she had won silver gloves. And I called her on my way home from work today, and I told her originally, because I told them, man, when Ronnie said, "Hey, are you coming to Huntington?" And dude, the amount of love, truly, like the amount of love I felt having so many people there in person that I knew were there to support me, that wanted to see me do good, they were there to watch me showcase what I've worked so hard for. That's another reason, like, I say I wasn't scared, like going into it. How can I be scared when I'm so fucking motivated? I had my bosses down in Houston. I had my boss's boss in Houston pay-per-viewing it with all the guys in the office. So the head honchos of my company are watching my ogre ass slam through, man. I got my wife, my in-laws in the stands. I got my friends. I got my whole boxing community. That's the whole reason, that no man's land where you're stuck in the mud. You don't have people that relate to you. You don't have people that, like I was saying with me and I'm gonna fuck his name up again, the Blaze, where I could have just shoot him off and sent him about his way. Like, best of luck to you, bud. People need to stop. Like, everybody doesn't deserve the good treatment, but you have to start giving people that might a chance. And then you'll get out of no man's land. If you're tired of having the same old friends that do the same old shit, start talking to people. Start, opening yourself up to different activities. Like, I really wasn't too keen on getting punched in the face, but I landed up at King's hands, and I got more than I ever bargained for, man. And like going
You
full.
made friends at Toughman, and you made
Oh,
one here. You made a fan out of me, man. I'm a big.
much obliged.
I cannot wait to see you fight in Parkersburg. We have
Job's
another.
job's not done.
No, not yet. Not yet. You got 2 more jackets to win. And this year alone. That is awesome, man. That is awesome. But Jessica Marie said, "Hi,
That's my
Robbie,
sister.
from your sister. Love you, bro." And then Simply DeAndre said, "Facts." So we got everybody watching. Anybody in the comments want to ask Ryan a question on live stream, go right ahead. The
I
floor is open. We've already been on for over an hour. Wow.
But listen, man, that's one thing. That's one thing I really think I got from the coal mines as well. You know, Ronnie always talks about like how good I am in class, like the energy. You don't always have to be so like when you don't have to be so sheltered. I feel like everybody's so like compact and like always worried about what people think of them. Like, dude, just get out there and talk to people. Like, I'm not saying I'm gonna be Mr. Joe friendly with everybody out there, because there's a whole lot of idiotic assholes out there that don't deserve the time of day. And I'm real quick on I'm going to help you with whatever you need. And the get fucked, they're right there. You get to choose. But Parkersburg, man, I'm gonna come box. I'm gonna come box. There's a little bit of brawling. Like, my style I brought in was I had to swing with them when they were swinging, but if they let me sit on the outside, I'm gonna pick you apart and I'm gonna piss you off, and then you're gonna do something stupid. I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna touch your chin. I'm gonna bob your head. You're gonna get real tired of me doing that, because I'm gonna do it real hard, And then you're gonna get emotional. I'm gonna stay calm, and you're gonna make a mistake.
Absolutely.
You catch me coming in with something crazy, more power to you. But there's a reason I look like a caveman. I built this chin for a reason. Lucas,
To me, with that beard and the skull cap on, you look like John Moxley from AEW.
nah, I'm looking more like a Neanderthal.
Yeah, you do look like that too, but you're very intelligent. You're a hell of a fighter. We've been on for an hour. Is there any other message that you want to leave our fans with tonight? Any other
Well,
message?
absolutely. I know there's only like 10 or 12 people watching it, and I really appreciate you guys. It seems like you guys stuck it out the whole time
We
for
had
all my random.
5 at one point.
Well, people are going to see this in the future, and if they're ever curious about, if you're looking to take the first steps to making yourself better, like Jordan Peterson says, like, the first thing you can do for yourself is make your bed every morning, because regardless of how your day goes, how bad it is, how shitty your boss treated you, you still get to come home to a made bed. And that applies for going out and doing new activities. If you're looking for something, maybe you don't want to get punched in the face, maybe boxing's not for you, but if you want to come give it a try, there's all those layers in between, man. do it, stick with it, stick with the hard thing for a couple months, see where it takes you and see what kind of person you come out the other side of it. Because adversity breeds success, and adversity breeds character, man. Like if I would have had an easy life, I would, everybody's like, I wouldn't be the person I am today, but there's no way, because I wouldn't have had to critically think of what, every situation in between, getting myself in a fucked up one. How do you make this better? I'm rambling on that one, but the point stands
No,
true.
you're not, because you actually did take
And
your situation and make it a better one.
And going forward, 2025, King's Hands Boxing. Going forward, 2025, King's Hands Boxing, nonprofit, man. I can't wait to see what Ronnie's going to do with it. I know Jessica's still in here listening. He sent me his mission statement earlier, and I'll be honest, I did not want to butcher it for you guys. I told him, I'd read through it. But how can you pick apart a mission statement that is he made that mission statement with passion, because everything Ronnie does associated with this, he does with true passion, and that's why I tell people, if you're looking for a change, King's Hands, Fit Lab, Nautilus, Fairmont, West Virginia. Come give it a try. Be open-minded. We're not going to punch you in the face much, but there's a whole lot to learn. If you would have known me 2 years ago, man, you would have never. Not that I was an atheist or anything, but you never would have heard me proclaim my faith. And you probably never would have thought I would. Not because I was an asshole, just because I was like, yeah, magical, mystical man in the sky. But I wasn't open-minded enough, to the interpretation of the energy and how you can use it. Ronnie has a lot of that energy, man. He's not afraid to share it with the guys.
I've learned over the years we got to come to God at the right time, the right spot in our life, with the right people.
Well, that's what Ronnie said. Ronnie said this is bigger than boxing. And at first, truly, I mean, at first I kind of got what he meant. Like, yeah, it's bigger than boxing, like, yeah, it's bigger than boxing. But now, it's really cliche to say, like, Quentin, Maddie, even though we don't talk too much, but I know she's solid. She's in the group. A lot of like the inner circle there at King's Hands, and like the inner circle isn't a clique. The inner circle isn't because we're cooler than you. The inner circle is just the people that are really the gospel of King's Hands, like the discipline, the making the corrections, being hard on yourself, being pointing out your low hanging fruits. That's the kind of stuff that gets you in a position where it's like, when I say like inner circle, I don't mean to make it sound clicky, but everybody is welcome, man. And like the closer you get to the center, the higher your life goes, man. The more I can't wait. This year's going to be good for King's Hands, man. We're going to have a lot of events. I believe he's got fundraisers and stuff planned. And hopefully, like I told,
come out and watch you fight at Toughman here. And you're gonna send me the video of Parkersburg. Hopefully, you get some good shots.
oh yeah,
Good,
yeah, I'll buy the pay-per-view, and then I'll just record it and send it to you.
And
but yeah, I'm gonna crash these kids.
I want to invite you. March 29th is the next wrestling show that I know I'm going to be a part of. It's going to be in
Where's it going to be at?
Elmore, West Virginia. It's
I'll
like
have to see
40
how far
minutes.
that is.
It's like 40 minutes outside of Clarksburg. We're going to be at the volunteer fire department. Brian Hardy, he's a second generation wrestler, is going to be on the card.
Hey, send me the date. Send me the save the date, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
And for I don't want to say the exposure, because I don't want to say I don't care who sees this, but I didn't do this for any publicity. Really, to get like King's Hands out and get some knowledge on addiction and how you can make yourself better. But I want to come. You send me that date, and I'll be there out of respect for you.
All right, I appreciate.
I'll be there.
I'll be there, friend. I really.
You don't let anything.
And we'll have you right back here on the show. We'll talk for another hour or two.
You don't let any of them boys hit me with any of them fluorescent light bulbs. You don't let any boys break tables over my back.
No, it ain't nothing like that. I don't want. Is a respectable company. We don't do that hardcore backyard.
All right, I didn't know if there was
style. Brother.
I didn't know if half a dozen greasy midgets were going to come out and start pig wrestling me.
No, by no means, no midgets. Not that I'm aware of, though. Brian,
Well, hey,
you might pull out a midget or two.
hey, let's we can wrap this up because we'll probably still be chit chatting after
Oh,
this.
I know,
Let
I
these
know. All right,
we can
brother.
let these people.
Yeah, we'll let
Hey,
people
hey,
get back their everyday life. God bless you all. Thank you for
hey.
watching. We're going to end it the live. You hang on for a second, and I'll come right back to you and talk to you, brother. Ryan's going to say good night, guys. We love you. Peace. T-Bone's out.
Thank you.
Have a good night. And we are off the air.